Hello everyone, have a nice day. Today we dive into a story where a saving lie turns into its own punishment. Uri confesses on camera to protect Tu Tieu, but an enemy editor rewinds the truth, weaponizes the cut, and turns a village into a courtroom. Hidden recorders, reverse timelines, a message buried in metadata, and a midnight meeting on an old railway bridge push love to its edge. Can two people stand together when the only proof left is a broken lens? Stay to the end to see what they choose when the cameras go dark. If this moves you, don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you won't miss the next videos. The storm has passed, but the house still tastes like damp metal. Uri sits at the bamboo table, thumb on the same worn button, rewinding the clip that ruined him. The screen shudders, then holds his face mid-breath, kitchen light pooling in his pupils like a secret he can't swallow. It was me. I leaked the files. The line lands, then unspools backward under his finger. Click, whir, click, until the sentence is a ribbon again. Each pass drags Tu Tieu's face farther from the shore of his memory. 3 days earlier, morning stirs the orchard into birdsong. White sheets fly like doves along the line. Canarium leaves clap softly in the breeze. Tu Tieu hums as she pins a corner, hair coiled high, wrists bright with water. Uri lifts his camera and follows the light until it finds her. "Hold still," he says, playful. "The light loves you today." "The light doesn't love anyone," she laughs. "It just reveals." He smiles, but the smile doesn't stay, because revelation is already a blade. Last night, inside her mother's office drive, he found a folder. Share transfer Lynn. The metadata wore Tu Tieu's digital signature like a borrowed coat. One curious click, one auto-sync, and the company's private ledger had bled into Lynn's machine. If that cross-pollination sees daylight, the village will salt their name. So he does the one thing he swore a lensman never does. He edits life. He spends the day erasing trails, ghosting timestamps, forging a backup that routes the breach through his IP like a river redirected. He populates alibis in places he never stood. He chooses himself as the leak. That night, Lynn calls. Hands free, phone on the table, the camera nearby, as if it might remember the room better than either of them. "Uri," Lynn purrs. "They trace the leak to your line." He watches the little LED under the shelf only as a dust mote, he thinks then. "Then I'll say it was me." "You'd take that blame for her?" "Someone has to. Truth is too sharp for her hands." A soft laugh, "Then let me help sharpen it." He doesn't notice the true eye in the room, the seed-sized recorder Lynn tucked beneath the shelf, nursing power from the outlet, drinking everything he says. 2 nights later, they pretend the silence isn't heavy. In the kitchen, the camera pretends to love, the knife pretends to be harmless, the fruit pretends not to stain. "You're quiet," she says, slicing black canarium. Juice licks her wrist like ink. "Just tired," he lies. He reaches with a cloth. She flinches, not from him, but from the tremble inside herself. "You're hiding something." "Maybe I'm protecting something." Is there a difference? Only when the truth is pure. She turns away, and the distance between them stops pretending. By dawn, a clip walks into the village chat, like a stray dog with a knife in its mouth. Uri's face, Uri's voice, the line delivered almost tenderly. It was me. No context, no rebuttal, just the slice. Comments sprout teeth. He used her, sold the shares. Fake love, real greed. The house feels suddenly smaller. When he knocks, she's already holding her phone. You should have told me, she says softly. Told you what? That you're the leak. Tieu, I don't. She angles the screen toward him. Your face, your words. He watches himself confess. It looks real because it is real. He filmed it. He engineered it. He trimmed it to fit the world's appetite. You edited this? She whispers. Yes. Why? Because they'd trace it to you. Her voice splinters. You lied to everyone, to me. I told the camera what it needed to hear. You think sacrifice is the truth? No. I think sometimes lies keep people alive. Her palm hits the table. The bowls hop and ring like small bells. Then let them kill me, Uri. At least it would be real. He reaches for her hand. She retracts like a flame bored of being touched. Midnight returns to collect interest. Uri replays the raw, take the moment he gutted himself on purpose. He remembers the rain smell, the stubborn red light, the rehearsal he did to make his guilt sound rehearsed. He had whispered into the lens, "It was me." He had continued, "Because she shouldn't pay for my silence." And then he had cut that part away. He made himself the villain so no one would look for a heroine with stains on her wrist. It worked. The village carried his name to the gallows and left hers under glass. Still, each time her name trends under betrayal, some vertebra inside him grinds. At 3 a.m., his laptop pings. From Lynn. Subject line: Your masterpiece deserves a sequel. Inside, footage of him filming the confession, but this time, the missing second line is stitched back. It was me, because she shouldn't pay for my silence. The truth was reborn not to save him, but to punish them both. If Lynn uploads this, every helpful lie he built collapses. The ledger will point to Tu Tieu, her mother, the orchard, the house. He slams the lid. Useless. The scheduler is already set. The clock starts counting like a fuse. 11 ma, gore. He steps into the courtyard. The night has that pre-storm hush, though the sky is clean. He lifts the camera and points it at darkness, as if darkness could be reverse exposed. One last edit, he tells the lens, not to change the truth, but to end it. He records his face exactly as it is, unshaven, sleepless, already paying. If tomorrow comes and the world still hates me, he says, let them. But if she watches this, she'll know. He hesitates, finds the thread. The tape runs backward for a reason. He hits stop. The red dot blinks once, like an eyelid too tired to argue. Dawn limps pale and bruised. The orchard stamps its breath. At the gate, residents arrive not from curiosity, but from habit. The village has learned that truth drops on schedules now. Children balance on fence rails. Adults carry thermoses. Someone sets a phone on a tripod, because that is how stories exist. Tu Tieu stands under the lintel with a face scared of sleep. Her phone trembles. A notification throbs red. Premiere. Uri's lost tape uploaded by Lynn begins at 10 Kral. The thumbnail catches Uri half in shadow, half in mercy. Title: The Confession You Never Saw. Don't watch, Ms. Hoa whispers, arriving with rain on her sleeves. I have to, Tu Tieu answers. I won't let a stranger tell me what he said to me. Her mother comes to the doorway, the weight of many quiets in her eyes. Gone men can still cause storms, she warns, not unkind. Then I'll meet the rain, Tu Tieu says. The countdown ticks on the screen, 9:58, 9:57 each second, a bead rolling along a string. Uri isn't here. Or he is everywhere, diffracted by a village of little lenses. The air thickens with the smell of wet wood and the metallic taste of a decision about to be bitten. She looks up at the line where the sheets once flew like doves. No wind, no flight. "Play it," she says when the timer hits 0. The buffer wheel spins, a small crown turning above a guillotine. The video opens on rain that isn't falling yet, pavement beaded with what it's about to feel. The image resolves into Uri's face, filmed at arm's length under the eave, eyes straight into the lens like he's trying to memorize the person watching. It was me, because she shouldn't pay for my silence. The courtyard exhales in one thin ribbon of sound. The line lands softer than guilt, heavier than grace. For a beat, you could almost call it love. Then Lynn's voice lays over the last word, clean and cold. "He lied again. Watch." The footage rewinds itself. Uri's mouth unsays the sentence. Rain unpearls from his hair. The red record light unburns. A second audio track slides in, off by the smallest fraction his timbre. Someone else's edits. She sent the file. I protected her after. Subtitles flash, then flicker out. Everything in that jittery, almost credible way that lives feed forgiveness. In the murmuring yard, no one can tell which layer is real anymore. "This isn't true," Tu Tieu says, more to her hands than to anyone. "It's surgery." Her mother steps forward, palm on her shoulder steady, not soothing. "Then don't let a surgeon decide your life." The premiere ends on a black frame stamped with a countdown. Next drop, 19 more. The crowd ripples, breaks into clusters. People drift to work, to chores, to avoid choosing a side too early. Phones go into pockets like coiled snakes. Ms. Hua arrives with a soaked envelope pressed to her chest. "Near the fence," she says, breathless. "Addressed to you." Inside, a small, unmarked USB and Uri's cramped hand on a scrap of receipt paper. If they reverse my truth, reverse theirs too. They gather at the bamboo table, just the three of them now. The house feels like a throat that has swallowed a shout and is waiting to see if it can survive it. Tu Tieu plugs the USB in. One file. Backward Darwan MP4. No sound. Security camera gray. Lynn's office from a high corner, her hair like a blade, her shoulders squared to the glow. They watch her scrub through Uri's confession, slice at the exact syllable where "I believe you would have lived in another story." She overlays whispers, aligns breaths that aren't there. At 01:37, Lynn leans too close. The monitor becomes a mirror, and behind her is a second reflection. A woman at the doorway, still as a held note. "Mother." "You were there," Tu Tieu says without looking up. A long breath. "Yes. You watched her cut him into a villain." "I watched to be sure your name didn't bleed onto the floor where everyone could step on it," her mother answers, voice thin but unbroken. "If your name came out, no one would marry you. No one would give us credit. No one would buy our fruit. I held the door closed because I thought I was holding the world off." Silence. Not empty, packed with years. "And Uri?" Tu Tieu asks. "Who held him?" No one answers. The rain that hasn't fallen yet moves a little closer. Twist the knife. Twist the reel. The lie he chose to carry became her mother's wall, and the town's verdict in the niche that Lynn sells to strangers. A poor girl wronged. A man revealed. It punishes him, whether anyone forgives him or not. That night, Tu Tieu opens Uri's old software on the family laptop, the same app where he learned how to cut weddings so the groom always turns at the hymn. She drags 2 clips onto the timeline: Lynn's premiere and Uri's raw file she found in his trash folder months ago when she was learning to color correctly. She hits reverse on the top track. Frames unspool. 2 rains meet. 2 breaths try to rhyme. At perfect overlap, a hidden layer blooms in the metadata, something Uri must have buried like a message in a bottle. A subtitle track named Intersection, SRT. 1 line only. Truth runs one way. Love runs the other. Meet me where they cross. GPS numbers fade in, then out. An old railway bridge outside the village. A place where trains no longer pass, but wind still does. Go, her mother says, not grudging anymore. And if you find him, bring him home through the front gate. Midnight is a sleeve over the world. Fog curls through the girders like slow smoke. He's there, thinner than the last time, as if the camera had been eating for both of them. The lens hanging on his chest is cracked. The red LED survives, as it always does. You shouldn't be here, he says gently. You invited me, she says, just as gently, and holds up her phone, his buried coordinates pulsing like a soft wound. He smiles with one corner of his mouth. A producer noted in the metadata, very on brand. 1 last take, she says, surprising herself with the steadiness in her voice. No edits, no reverse. We walk away with whatever we record. He lifts the camera between them. The dot stains their chins with red. Ask, what is the truth, Uri? He doesn't blink. Whatever hurts the least. She nods, as if she had expected this and still hates it. Then your truth hurt you most. I choose my punishments, he says. I won't let them choose yours. Stop choosing alone. Wind thunders under the bridge like a train that forgot its body. The camera, caught in a gust, wobbles, then steadies. For a moment, the red light looks like a second moon pressed into fog. Come home, she says, almost a plea, almost an order. Stand beside me when the town asks again. We show them the whole sentence. If they still hate you, they'll have to hate me too. Shared weight is lighter. You'd split the lie with me? I'd split the living with you. That's when the bridge lights stutter the cheap kind the council installed last Tet, and the camera coughs. Screen black. The red dot dies like a candle the room forgot to defend. In the morning, strip tape flaps where officers have practiced looking. Nobody. Just the camera lodged against a rusted rivet. Lens cracked open like a mouth that tried to keep a secret and bit through it instead. On Tu Tieu's phone, a new upload appears creator listed as Uri unlisted title, the final edit. She taps play with the dread one reserves for hospitals and finals and doors. Footage rolls backward. The storm unbreaks. The bowls unsung on the table. Her palm lifts from where it struck. The sentence unsaid itself. The last frame holds onto their kitchen the week before any of this, bright as ignorance, text in white on black. If love was edited, at least I kept the original. It isn't proof of life, but it is the kind of sentence people leave when they plan to go where proof can't follow. By noon, the town has opinions, as towns do. Some say he ran. Some say he confessed twice, which is enough. Others say they saw a figure on the hill road at dawn, carrying nothing but the weather. At 1900, Lynn's second drop fails. The link sputters. The placeholder loops. Somewhere, someone unplugged a plan. Ms. Hoa appears at the gate with mud on her hem and a look that says, "Do not ask me how. Only drink the tea I brought." the house chooses not to stream. They set the kettle on a low flame. The mother smooths the cloth on the table, aligning the frayed edge with bamboo's grain like a prayer for straight lines. In the soft lit kitchen, they play Uri's raw files, not the confessions, but the mornings he never posted. A dog nosing the ladder, a pot refusing to boil faster for the camera, Tu Tieu laughing at a joke that didn't survive translation. Will you forgive him? Her mother asks, not with pressure, but with weather in her voice. I don't know, she says, but I can stop letting his lie be only punishment. How? By deciding what it paid for. She opens the window. The orchard sends in its green breath. We'll put the ledger right. We'll say what happened, not who we want to be. If the village leaves, we still have trees. If the niche won't buy our story, we'll stop selling it. And him? If he walks back through the front gate, he stands beside me. If he doesn't, she says, letting the syllables find their own temperature, then the original he kept is here. She touches her chest, then the table, then the place his camera used to sleep. And I will play it until I hear it right. Outside, a scooter passes like a thought that almost returns. Far away, thunder rehearses a storm it may never perform. The kettle ticks. The house finally off. Finally blind breathes like a living thing that has learned the cost of seeing. In the near dark, the screensaver drifts across the monitor, soft and ordinary. It reflects three faces that do not need to perform. For a rare minute, nothing rolls. Nothing rewinds. Let the cut hold. Let the truth run one way and love another. Tonight, at least, they cross in the same room.
Sau khi tìm thấy chữ ký của từ tiêu trên ổ đĩa có nhãn, Confronting, Uri tạo ra một dấu vết đến IP của chính mình và quay một lời thú tội cắt dòng. Vì cô ấy không nên trả giá cho sự im lặng của tôi, nên rò rỉ đoạn clip và ngôi làng lên án anh ta. Vài ngày sau, cô ta lên lịch một cuốn băng bị mất, tiết lộ hoàn toàn bản án, đe dọa sẽ vạch trần Từ Tiêu. Uri để lại một tệp đối lập, giám sát link, chỉnh sửa lời thú tội, siêu dữ liệu ẩn tạo độ đến một cây cầu đường sắt. Thủ Tiêu cũng biết được mẹ cô đã âm thầm chứng kiến link can thiệp để bảo vệ niche và tên tuổi của gia đình. Tại cây cầu, Thủ Tiêu yêu cầu quay một cảnh chưa chỉnh sửa. Máy quay chết và Uri biến mất. Một lần tải lên cuối cùng, được anh ta phát lại cuộc sống theo chiều ngược lại và kết thúc. Nếu tình yêu được chỉnh sửa, ít nhất tôi vẫn giữ được bản gốc. Lần thả thứ hai của Linh không thành công. Vài máy cay, hai mẹ con chọn chế độ trong suốt và chờ xem Uri có quay lại không.